looks like someone's on a quest for self-improvement. This time, you've given us quite the reading list on the subject of mastery.
Aiming for the top of their game.
Exactly. And you've given us a fascinating mix to work with. We've got Robert Greene's take on the subject, a glimpse into his own journey, and even some ancient Chinese wisdom to give us some perspective.
Yeah.
So ready to unlock those aha moments that can really level up your skills and unlock your potential.
Let's do it. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how all of these sources across time and different disciplines all kind of point towards similar truths about the path to mastery.
Well, one of the sources that you gave us starts with this really powerful image from the Chuang-Tzu. Imagine skill reaching such heights.
That's a good one.
That really sets the bar high.
It does. And, you know, what's interesting is that the sources really emphasize that mastery isn't just about acquiring skills. It's about going beyond competence. It's about developing an almost intuitive feel for your field, you know, like a chess grandmaster. Seeing the whole board as this web of forces.
Instead of just individual pieces.
Right.
So it's about internalizing the complex parts of your field until they become second nature.
Exactly. And the sources are packed with examples. I mean, you've got Bobby Fischer's chess mastery. You've got Glenn Gould's genius on the piano.
Yeah.
Even Leonardo da Vinci and Albert Einstein, in their own ways, they demonstrated this really deep, intuitive grasp of their domains.
That makes sense, but it also sounds incredibly daunting.
Right.
I mean, is there some secret formula that we're missing? Is there like a shortcut to this level of mastery?
You know, I wish there were. But what's clear from these sources, especially from Robert Greene's work, is that there's no magic pill. Mastery is a deliberate process. He calls it the ideal apprenticeship.
Okay.
And there are no shortcuts on this path.
So there are no shortcuts, but are there patterns that we can learn from?
Definitely.
I mean, you've given us sources spanning centuries here. There must be some common threads in the journeys of all of these masters.
There are. There really are these universal principles that we can glean from their stories. Greene outlines 6 key steps.
Okay.
And that first one focuses on finding what he calls our life's task, which is essentially our true calling. And you've highlighted a lot of material on discovering that. What were some of the takeaways for you?
Well, it struck me how much emphasis the sources place on that inner voice, you know, that primal curiosity that pulls us towards a particular path. They point to the childhoods of masters like Leonardo da Vinci, Marie Curie, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, driven by this like deep fascination from very young age.
Yeah.
You know, Da Vinci was just captivated by nature, sketching everything he saw. Curie, she was drawn to her father's laboratory instruments. And Spielberg, he was utterly obsessed with his father's film projector.
It's so interesting how that calling kind of emerges from such a young age. So this life's task, it's not something that we force, it's something that we kind of uncover, something that resonates with us on a deeper level. It makes you wonder how much of that calling is innate versus influenced by our environment.
Right.
But let's say we've identified that calling.
Okay.
What's next? Is there some instruction manual for mastery? Can we just follow the steps?
The sources seem to agree that there's no one-size-fits-all manual.
Yeah.
The apprenticeship is a unique journey for each individual. But what's so fascinating is that despite the individual paths, certain principles keep surfacing throughout history.
Okay, so while the journey is personalized, there are some universal truths to kind of guide us. What are some of those principles that resonated with you?
Well, one that really stood out is this idea of valuing learning over money. It's about focusing on acquiring skills and knowledge as the ultimate currency.
Yeah.
The sources offer some pretty compelling examples, like you've got Benjamin Franklin and Albert Einstein, who both prioritized learning above immediate financial gain.
It makes you think about like the last time that you turned down an opportunity to learn something new because you were too busy, or because you thought, oh, well, this is not going to make me money right now.
Right.
How might shifting those priorities actually impact your own path to mastery?
It's a powerful question to consider.
Yeah.
And it ties into another key principle, which is constantly expanding your horizons. Don't limit yourself to just your chosen field. Seek out new knowledge, new experiences, even if they seem unrelated at first.
The sources mention Zora Neale Hurston.
Yes.
The incredible writer and anthropologist who took on house cleaning jobs.
Wow.
Just to have access to books
And
to expand her knowledge base.
That's dedication.
That's some serious dedication.
Wow.
It speaks to that hunger for knowledge that drives those on the path to mastery.
Absolutely.
And, this journey isn't always going to be easy.
Yeah.
The sources emphasize embracing resistance and pain.
Mm.
True growth often comes from pushing past your comfort zone, from confronting those challenges head on. John Keats, the renowned poet, he serves as a really powerful example. He overcame poverty, personal hardships to achieve mastery in his art.
Yeah.
I can relate to this. I remember when I first started learning to play the guitar, my fingers were so sore I could barely touch them. But I pushed through the pain, and eventually, those calluses became like badges of honor.
Totally.
It's a testament to that idea that mastery is as much about building character as it is about building skills.
I love that.
So we've got dedication, perseverance, expanding our horizons, pushing through discomfort. What else?
Well, another key principle that emerges is this importance of combining the how and the what.
Okay.
So, focus on both the technical skills, the how of your field, and also the deeper principles, the what that underpins it all.
Okay.
Think of Santiago Calatrava, the architect who's known for these stunning, innovative designs.
I love his work.
He so seamlessly combined his love for art with the rigor of engineering.
So it's about understanding the technical side and the underlying principles that give it meaning. It's not just about knowing the steps. It's about understanding why they work.
Precisely. You need both the how and the what to truly master your craft.
Okay, so I'm starting to see the pattern here. Dedication, perseverance, expanding our horizons, pushing boundaries. But, mastery isn't a solo journey, is it?
It's not.
You flagged a lot of content about the role relationships actually play in this process. So how do they factor into the journey?
Well, the sources highlight how crucial social intelligence is for mastering any field. It's about understanding and navigating human interactions, which helps you find mentors, build alliances, overcome resistance, and ultimately it amplifies your impact.
So how do you see the interplay between technical mastery and social intelligence in achieving true success?
That's a great question.
Are they equally important, or is one more dominant than the other?
It's like two sides of the same coin, really. You could be the most technically skilled person in the room.
Yeah.
But if you can't communicate your ideas effectively, if you can't collaborate with others and navigate the social landscape, your impact is going to be limited.
So it's not just about mastering the craft. It's about mastering the social game as well.
Yeah.
The sources that you gave us, they delve into some of the common human behaviors we should be aware of, outlining what they call the 7 deadly realities. One that really stood out to me was envy.
Yeah.
Recognizing that others' jealousy can be such a powerful force.
It can be.
The sources, they suggest a strategic approach, maybe even showcasing like a minor weakness.
Oh, interesting.
To appear less threatening, almost like you're disarming them with a little vulnerability.
Yeah.
What about the other deadly realities? What else should we be looking out for?
Well, there's conformism.
Okay.
That pressure to kind of fit in. The sources, they caution against revealing too much unconventionality, especially early in your career.
Yeah, better to fly under the radar until you've kind of established yourself.
Right.
What else?
Rigidity.
Okay.
This one's about being mindful when you're introducing new ideas, because some people are so resistant to change.
Yeah, they just don't like to change.
Yeah. And then there's self-obsession. The tendency to get caught up in our own world.
Right.
The advice here is to really try to shift our perspective and genuinely focus on the needs and interests of others. So it's about building authentic connections, not just transactional ones.
Right, not just what can you do for me, but how can we grow together?
Exactly.
Okay, so what else?
And then we have laziness, which is just a lack of discipline and drive.
Right.
Flightiness, which is a tendency towards distraction and lack of follow-through. And then passive aggression.
Yes.
That subtle form of resistance.
So we've got envy, conformism, rigidity, self-obsession, laziness, flightiness, and passive aggression.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, right? It makes you think that, like, navigating the human landscape can be just as complex, if not more so, than mastering any technical skill.
It can be, for sure.
But developing that social intelligence, learning to read people and situations, that can be a game changer.
It can.
On the path to mastery.
For sure.
It makes you wonder, though, if there's a risk of, like, overthinking the social game, Could focusing too much on these deadly realities actually distract us from the actual work?
That's
from honing those core skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's about finding that balance, right? Being aware of these dynamics without letting them kind of consume you.
Right.
Ultimately, I think it's about using your understanding of human behavior to enhance your effectiveness, not to manipulate or control others.
So it's about playing the game intelligently, but ethically.
Exactly. Okay, so we've honed our skills. We've learned to navigate the social complexities. What's next on this journey to mastery?
The next stage is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
It's about unleashing your creative potential.
Yeah.
What resonated with you from the sources you shared about this phase?
I was so fascinated by the emphasis on cultivating like a childlike mindset, embracing curiosity, playfulness, and a willingness to experiment.
Yes.
It's about moving beyond rigid, conventional thinking and tapping into like a more fluid, multidimensional approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The sources highlight the importance of what John Keats called negative capability.
Okay.
The ability to kind of embrace uncertainty and ambiguity. It's about resisting that urge to have all the answers.
Yeah.
To jump to conclusions prematurely.
So instead of seeking immediate certainty, we should sit with the unknown. Let our minds explore those unanswered questions. Exactly. Allow your mind to kind of wander, to make these unexpected connections that can lead to true breakthroughs.
I like that.
Yeah, and the sources offer some specific strategies for fostering this type of creative thinking.
Yeah.
One is allowing for serendipity. So being open to those chance encounters, the unexpected discoveries that can spark new ideas.
Like keeping a notebook handy to just jot down those random thoughts and observations that come to you.
Absolutely.
What other strategies resonated with you?
The concept of alternating the mind through the current really struck me.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever stepped away from a problem only to have the solution kind of hit you while you're taking a walk or doing something completely unrelated?
All the time.
Right.
It's like taking a mental break actually helps you solve the problem.
It does. That's exactly it. That's the power of alternating the mind. It's about giving your subconscious mind space to work its magic.
I love that. But what about those masters who seem to operate on a completely different level?
Right.
The ones who reach like the pinnacle of their fields, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, what sets them apart.
That's what Greene refers to as the high end of mastery.
Okay.
And what's fascinating about these individuals is they often combine multiple areas of expertise, applying their knowledge in increasingly creative and impactful ways.
Yeah.
They're constantly innovating, pushing the boundaries of their fields, and kind of redefining what's possible.
So do the sources give us like specific examples of this high-end mastery in action?
They do. Take, for instance, Yoki Matsuoka.
Okay.
She's this brilliant roboticist and neuroscientist who combined her expertise to develop groundbreaking prosthetic limbs.
Wow. So it's about taking that deep knowledge that you've cultivated and applying it in new and unexpected ways.
Exactly. Yep. And then you've got Paul Graham, who's a programmer and entrepreneur.
Okay.
He blended his technical skills with his artistic sensibilities to create successful businesses and innovative models for entrepreneurship.
So it's about constantly evolving, expanding your reach, and finding new ways to apply your expertise.
Exactly.
True mastery is a lifelong pursuit.
It is.
It's an ongoing evolution of your skills, your knowledge, and your character.
It is. It's not about reaching some predetermined destination, but embracing the journey itself.
Yeah, it's all about the journey. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From finding your calling to navigating that social landscape to unlocking your creative potential.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But it's clear that the path to mastery is a challenging one.
Yeah.
But incredibly rewarding. So what does all of this mean for our listener on their own quest for mastery? What key takeaways should they be walking away with?
Well, I think what's important to remember is that mastery isn't about some innate talent or privilege. It's about dedication, perseverance, and this relentless pursuit of excellence.
Yeah.
Anyone can embark on this journey, and that's what's so inspiring.
Yeah, and that's pretty inspiring, right? It's not about some special gift that you're born with.
It's not.
It's about the work that you put in.
And the sources, they really remind us that the journey itself is the reward.
Yeah.
Mastery isn't about reaching some final destination. It's about that continuous evolution of your skills, your knowledge, your character.
I think that really hits home for a lot of us. It's not about checking those boxes or reaching some arbitrary finish line.
Right.
It's about constantly challenging ourselves, exploring those new horizons, pushing those boundaries.
Yeah.
What's one area that you're currently kind of exploring, something that's pushing you outside of your comfort zone?
I've been experimenting with a new approach to problem solving.
Oh, okay.
Something I came across in one of the sources that you shared. It involves stepping back from the problem and engaging in activities that stimulate different parts of the brain.
Interesting.
Almost like cross-training for your mind.
Oh, I like that.
It's too early to tell what the results will be, but I'm excited to see where this process takes me.
That's fascinating. I love that idea of cross-training for your mind.
Yeah.
It reminds me of how athletes train different muscle groups to improve their overall performance. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into mastery, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to our listener who's clearly on their own path to mastery?
Remember that quote from the Chuang Tzu we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Imagine skill reaching such heights. Never stop imagining. Never stop pushing yourself to reach those heights, whatever that means for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that the pursuit of mastery is a lifelong adventure. And the journey itself is where the magic happens.
That's where it's at.
It really is.
It's about embracing the challenges, the setbacks, the triumphs along the way. It's about never losing that childlike curiosity and that thirst for knowledge that drives us forward.
A huge thank you to you and to our listener for joining us on this deep dive into mastery.
Yes, thank you.
We'll be back next week with another stack of sources.
Sounds good.
And another fascinating conversation.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep reaching for those heights.